Hey everyone, welcome to Aussie Footy Chats, episode 14, Hawthorn Trade Chats. So today I have my first ever guest, Dani. This is my girlfriend. Hey Dani.
Hi Michael, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries at all. So yeah, me and Dani have seen each other for about 4 years now. And yeah, she was a massage therapist at Port Adelaide. And yeah, so you'd like to talk about that briefly?
Yeah. So just before COVID, I was there for 5 years and great bunch of guys. I really respect them as a group of players. Obviously, I don't support them, but for you, I always will.
Yeah, I played a bit at Port and obviously go for Port as my team. So yeah, I sort of played a bit of footy there, and obviously my home state team that I support. And yeah, but today's going to be about Hawthorn. Dani's obviously a big fan, and she's wanted to jump onto my podcast today. So yeah, it's important that I did this and included her in it, and she knows a fair bit. So we spend a lot of weekends watching football.
Yeah. All the teams we watch, and we're pretty well full on with footy.
Yeah, so like each weekend, I watch it every weekend and every game, even if it's a lower ranked team playing a high team, which might be a higher scoring game against the other way, but always looking for statistics and hoping it's a good game either way. And so, yeah, she's a big Hawthorn supporter, so we do spend a lot of time watching both sides. And yeah, I get a lot of enjoyment out of watching my team and also spending time with her and watching her team. So
yeah, that's been good.
yeah, so we'll talk a bit about their season as I've done in previous episodes. So we're going to keep it the same sort of format, but with my guest. And so the Hawthorn Football Club finished in the top 8 this year. So how did you think the home and away season went?
Well, being a interstate supporter, you're always watching it on TV, so you don't get the actual feel being at a game. I would have loved to go and watch Hawthorn play every week, but we are always there when they do come to South Australia. How they went this year, though, I think they actually played really well. I think everyone put a lot on them, calling them the Hollywood Hawks and having a big go at them maybe at the end of the year, especially against your team, Port Adelaide, with Hinkley and everyone. I think sometimes
The drama that went.
Yeah. So it was all a bit much about that, but I was really proud of the boys where they came and they end up getting into the finals and did really well.
So this time last year, Hawthorn were prepped to basically be top 4. The experts were saying, potential flag favourites at one stage, weren't they? They were really pumping up the Hawthorn ties. I mean, look at the trades they got last year with Barras and Barrett.
And I suppose too, like we did have Will Day, counting a lot on him. To play to play a full year. We haven't had actually him play a full year yet.
He was injured in the previous final series, and then.
That's right. I think when we played against Port Adelaide, he wasn't actually playing that game, and where you
missed. Yeah, this is the previous season. So they start of the year they were projected to be quite high on the ladder. So they did finish very high. Like they finished in the top 8, didn't finish top 4. I mean, you won the first sort of 5 games in a row, didn't you?
Yeah.
So, they won their sort of first 5. Went through a bit of a time where they sort of, form dipped a little bit, but they ended up coming good towards the back end of the year.
Yeah.
And making finals. And, versus GWS in the elimination final, the team I just covered before. So, you won the first final, didn't you? So it was a pretty tough game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, and then you come here to Adelaide, and then
beat Adelaide.
Beat Adelaide, yeah. So that was a pretty tough game, wasn't it?
I think we tried to get tickets, but unfortunately those Crows are pretty quick with that.
Sells out quick here in Adelaide, so they go like hotcakes pretty much.
Yeah.
So so they went on to beat Adelaide, and then lost to Geelong.
That's right.
In the prelim, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think we're just like that game. We were literally just, I don't know. We just seemed like really tired.
Mm. Yeah,
tired, or Geelong just had a well easy.
I previously said in my last podcast that Geelong probably had an easier run.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. If you look at who they played for a top 4 team previous to the year before, they did. The AFL, I think, should have gave them a harder draw. If you look at my team, for example,
Port Adelaide,
we had the hardest draw. And I'm not whinging because we finished in the top 4 that year. That's just how it is. And the same rules should be applied to all top 4 sides equally. I'm all about fairness. So, but that is what it is. And Geelong came out and beat Hawthorn. Patrick Dangerfield
he was just a gun. He was a game changer right in the centre, and that's where obviously we're going to get into a bit for the midfield.
Yep.
For us, we need that midfield change happening, and hopefully next year draft or this in November, something will happen.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk a little bit about anyway.
Yeah, clearly your best player is Joe Newcomb. What did he get, Mr. September?
Mr. September,
yeah. Yep.
I'd like to cover a little bit about him down the track a bit.
Cool. So. They unfortunately lost, and so that's a pretty good season, and they go into this year with the trades. So we'll talk about sort of who they went for. Obviously, what did you would like to start with? Being my guess, how would you like to start this trade chat first with your notes there?
Well, I suppose it started off with Harley Reid, didn't it? Really.
Offering that big deal.
Yeah.
Was before the end of the season?
It was before, yeah. I think it was during the season, wasn't it? And Hawthorn were
before the season ended.
Yeah, so Hawthorn were offering him a 11-year contract, and it was worth around $1.7 million per season until 2036. But unfortunately for Hawthorn, he decided another extension because he's already got a year for next year.
Yeah.
So he signed a 2-year contract with West Coast until 2028, which $2 million a year, so $4 million for 2 years. So you don't blame him, but is he actually worth it? Has he proven himself? That's the thing. I don't know. I don't personally. I wouldn't have been happy with that. I think it's too much. Like when you look at Merritt and all of those sort of players signed in a big contract deal for 10 years or whatever, down the track sometimes they just want to leave, don't they?
It is a lot of money for a younger player. Harley Reid was a high draft pick, inside mid at West Coast, and they obviously value him quite highly and gave him that contract with a lot of money. Essentially, it was a high draft pick a couple of seasons ago, and in his first year, I remember that game against Melbourne, absolutely tore it apart. Gave the don't argue to Christian Petrarca, ran down the ground and kicked the goal. That being said, his second year, he had a little bit of second year blues, didn't he? He was struggling a bit. He had games where he looked good, and I can remember the game with him and Horn Francis. I know this added a bit of Port Adelaide, but that one-on-one battle, Horn Francis just electrified it and turned it on and kicked 3 goals within like a quarter or something, and just gave it back to Harley Reid, which from a spectator's point of view was quite
that's just a
interesting.
total match-up for next year, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can imagine what it's going to bring,
Yeah.
especially the crowd, and being a Port fan, you'll watch for that.
So I was sort of going to bring that back to the Hawthorn thing with offering him such a big contract for a guy that still is a bit unproven. I think.
Yeah, that's what I think too. That was my main worry.
Yeah.
I know he looks like a gun out there. He looks like a superstar, but is he? Is he actually a superstar? I don't know.
Do you think, from a Hawthorn perspective, would you have developed him better?
Maybe because it's got Hawthorn's a family.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel with some of the older players that we do still have there.
Yeah.
Where I think West Coast, a few of them have probably left by now, haven't they? I'm not sure. You know more about that than me.
So West Coast have struggled for the few previous seasons, ever sort of since their premiership in before the 2020, essentially in the 2018 grand final. They've sort of struggled since then and had a lot of changes. I'll get into West Coast more and cover them.
Yeah.
But essentially, just on that, I think, he's decided to stay at West Coast, which is what Dani's sort of saying.
Yeah. And that's, you can understand, he's a young lad, he's, $4 million. That pretty much sets him up. And he's going to get big money wherever he goes to next time. And I suppose the other player that is big for me is Zach Merritt. And I wore my heart on my sleeve for that one because, Hawthorn put their all eggs in that basket and we didn't get him at the end and being massive rivals against Essendon, it was a real hard one for me. I feel like that. I feel a bit sorry for the guy. He stated that he wanted to leave the club, and Essendon buckled down and they didn't want him. But like when you look at both sides of the story, if that was Captain Sis, I wouldn't want him playing for Hawthorn anymore if he wanted to leave. I literally find that, when you look at Houston, he wanted to go and Port left and go, and, I think it was probably the best decision, where I think Merritt,
It's very hard to... Dani Houston wasn't a captain, but he's a well-respected player. And he did miss got 5 weeks for that bump. It was a solid bump on Isaac Rankin, and probably in a lot of fairness was a bit uncharacteristic from Dani Houston. You don't really see him elect to bump that much. He's more of a running halfback. I don't think he's a weak player, for example. I think he still does a few tackling, but it's not essentially a strong part of the game, and was probably a little bit uncharacteristic. And maybe it was a frustration that he did want to leave, for example.
I know, but like what I'm saying though, and I don't want to talk all night about Merritt either, because it's all finished with, and Essendon pretty much put. I don't feel like it wouldn't have mattered what we offered them; they still wouldn't have done it. The only player I think they were after, which came right at the end, which we know, is Weddle, and I feel like maybe that's the only player, but we're not giving him up, unless he does leave at the end of next year. Who knows? But I doubt very much whether Hawthorn. Well, obviously Hawthorn didn't want to let him go.
So in what we're talking about here, Zach Merritt's an Essendon captain. Yeah. I've talked about him in my previous podcasts, and he was still contracted. And Hawthorn football, he wanted to be traded to the Hawthorn Football Club. He's a bit of a mixed sort of player. He's good on the outside, but can play on the inside. He's a bit of a hybrid between the two. And Hawthorn, you were looking for a established, mature midfielder.
Yeah, well, especially with Warple, leaving, and Will Day always to be the player that is always injured. We needed that extra gun there too.
Yep. So they got Jai Newcomb and Will Day. And Will Day's not playing at the moment because due to injury of his foot, a stress fracture in his foot. Yeah. He'll be back obviously this year. You'd be pretty rapt to have him come back into the lineup. Yeah,
I can't wait to see.
Good old SA boy.
Yeah, well, Crows missed out on him, didn't they?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it was the year. I think they got Fisher McCassie. They went early in the draft, and he's no longer playing. So, but that being said.
So that was probably really on the top of my list, was just Merritt. I felt a bit sorry for the guy. Put all his cards down on the table. Spoke to media, got his agent to speak to the media, and Essendon buckled down, and fair call. Like, I'm not having got Essendon either. They wanted to keep their captain, and whether it will happen for him next year or not, who knows.
So they come back with the Hawthorn Football Club went into the trade period. Got up to the last night. They're trying to do a deal with Essendon, and their offer was 3 first-round picks plus Huswaite, which is a young guy playing.
And there's nothing actually wrong with that player too. I just feel like he hasn't actually had a fair go, really. To be honest, like how do they know whether they could have improved him as a player too? He's got a great speed. When he has been playing,
Bit of height to him.
Yeah.
He's a midfielder,
Yeah,
bit of
you know,
more of an outside
I think they just wanted Weddle
mid.
personally.
Well, yeah, they've made a contract offer to Weddle
Yeah.
for next year, but that'll be in the following trade period. And yeah, so they rejected Hawthorn's offer and came back with a counter offer for 4 first round draft picks, which I've said in my previous podcast. I feel like that was an unrealistic deal that could have been done. 4 first round picks is a lot, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Like he's not a 26-year-old player, or he's not a. I know he's their captain. He's not a. He's a 30-year-old guy that's. He's hoping he's got 4 years to go.
Yeah.
And he would have like made it big time for Hawthorn. Like that, it would have been a game changer. But that's just what it is. We now have to. I feel like we just put all our eggs in that one basket, and that's my big disappointment of it all. We just did that one player, like we missed out. We didn't want to do Petrarca. We didn't want to look any further. It was just all about merit, and it didn't happen. And then now we're,
So Bailey Humphries did have a meeting, I believe, with Melbourne and your club.
Yeah, that's right.
But Gold Coast didn't elect to trade him. But I also can understand with the club sticking to keeping Zach Merritt, and I can see that perspective from their club.
Yeah, I can understand it.
But also, I wish in hindsight, I wish Port probably got a better deal for Houston. I know this is a bit separate to what we're talking about, but yeah, it also goes to if you're not wanting to keep a player there. But so do you feel like they put too much effort into him?
Yeah,
and
I
didn't
think
go
so.
hard with.
Like I feel like Merritt's an awesome player, but he's no different body to Will Day, and I feel like
Will Day is probably a bit bigger. He's probably more of a mixture.
Yeah, okay. But I would have liked to have seen someone a bit more of a thicker body.
Yeah.
A stronger body, which I feel like Petrarca might have suited Hawthorn a little bit better.
As I mentioned previous podcast with Gold Coast, they picked up the inside mid with a bigger body. So would you rather them have him and protect?
Yeah, that's right. Will Day a bit
more of a battering ram for those players.
That's right. Like Will Day is just puts 120% effort into his game, and that game that he played against the Crows, he was just running around trying to do everything, and that was probably his first game play or second game.
No. Earlier in the season, I think it was GWS and UB.
But from injury though.
Oh, from injury. Yeah.
That was his first game.
half, and then he got injured. About just after half time.
On the same injury.
Yeah, so he unfortunately stress fracture in the foot.
That's right.
But his first few games were absolutely on fire.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, he looked like the next Ponce.
Yeah, that's right. And wouldn't it have been better, maybe a stronger guy in the centre as well to give him a bit of protection and a bit of grunt in there? Look, I'm no.
Yeah. So would have. I mean, you would have had to offer up $1 million probably for Petrarca,
but they're already doing that with
Harley
and all of that. So what's the difference? Like I don't like that sort of offer for Harley, because I feel like we need we've got Weddle, who's everyone's obviously going to go after next year. We need to look after some of our other players. So putting all of that money into one player, I don't know.
So hindsight, you think it might be better for your club
to invest on their own players.
Got the spare money, and including the Harley Reid, and not giving Petrarca that extra money. I mean, I would hope. Well, you could add into your midfield somehow if you can develop a player. We'll talk about what was the next one you sort of would like to talk about.
Yeah, well, it's up to you. Like, you want to get into the trades?
Well, we'll just give a proper summary.
Yeah.
Just quickly go through my notes just to sort of. We'll just talk quickly who arrived. So obviously didn't have anyone arrive, and then who left. So CJ left, and Jai Sarong and James Warple. So the Hawks secured a 3rd round selection tied to Sydney, while handing Sydney Swans a 4th round pick in 2026 in the draft deal for Jai Sarong. just briefly, Jai Sarong is a defender, so second key position type player, sort of I guess Josh Battle type size and role. Is he best and fairest in the VFL for like the last 2 years? I think something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So
yeah.
he is pretty well.
It's pretty good.
Sitting, and unfortunately couldn't get into your side because your defense is really good.
Well, with them getting a Battle and Barras in, how
Yep.
can you go against those guys now?
Yeah, Battle got all Australian as well, so
Yeah.
it's very hard. So he's left for more opportunities at Sydney. He didn't actually play with his brother, which was a surprise at Freo. I'm not sure what happened there. Freo do have a few key defenders, but could have probably used him. Been a fringe player at Hawthorn, a top 4 side. He's still a good player. So also they secured a 4th round pick next year from Melbourne for CJ. So CJ.
Look, I don't. When you look at the photos and all of that with him taking, he was right in the mix with it all. But
he's
I felt,
very loved.
Very loved. Everyone loved CJ. But to be honest, the last half of him when he came on, I sort of went,
didn't perform.
Yeah.
I mean, it was hard because he played.
I feel like he tries 200% and it just didn't happen sometimes.
Just coming in at the wrong time again.
Yeah.
They're going to get rid of the sub rule, so I sort of feel for the guy.
Yeah, that's right.
He gets put on and
and he's like, because he's only on for a quarter or something like that, he's just gone 100 miles
he's
per hour.
trying it.
Yeah.
So he was basically a fringe player that was in and out of the side.
Yeah.
You can see the photos with a few of your players.
Yeah, Guinea and that.
Guinea was pretty upset.
Yeah.
It's obviously really good mates. So he's left to Melbourne for a 4th round pick next year. So you guys build up a bit of draft capital. It's interesting. He's now left the club. He'll get more opportunities at Melbourne, so he'll be playing full time there. So we'll talk about that a bit more with Melbourne. And just talking, just a bit of my summary just has how Henry Hustwaite was offered up, and then the deals that were rejected, and then also Walpole was traded to Geelong or was a free agent. So he walked to Geelong for nothing.
I think he lived to Geelong in his younger years or something, didn't he? And that's could be one of the reasons.
From that area.
Yeah, he's from that area. And
so essentially gone home, even though it's down the road. And Walpole was sort of an inside mid.
Yeah, he worked well with Jai.
Yeah, I thought his form this year, I thought personally was a bit patchy.
Well, everyone sort of thought maybe his head was already sort of leaving. When when a player already knows when the whole Hawthorn, everyone knew that he was going to Geelong. So how do you play that 100% for your team when you already know that you're going?
I think you that's understandable. I think he did. His form just wasn't.
I still think he played alright though. He's like I always felt like he was a good player.
I think he's a good player, but I personally, just from an outside perspective, I think he'd be a loss because you need to get an inside midfielder.
That's
to
right.
replace
So now
him.
we've got like 2 players that we need, don't we?
I look at it this way: you have picks 10, 22, 62, 76. 94 and 112 in this year's draft, so they're your draft picks. So you have a top 10 pick. You got pick 10.
Yeah, like I've got a couple of players here list down that I feel like Hawthorn might go for. We've got an Ollie Greaves. He's a mid player. He's 191 centimetres from the Eastern Ranges, Melbourne. He's a leap back, winning average around 25 disposals. So apparently he's up there. We've got a Jacob Farrow. He's a mid-player defender type, 185 centimetres tall, Northern Knights athletic interceptor with rebounding speed, tackling pressure. Sounds alright.
Yep.
and we've got a Jevon Filippo.
Oh, yep. So, yeah.
Yeah, he's a mid.
Filippo's brother from St Kilda. So
Oh, is he?
from
Yeah, okay.
Woodville, a local SA boy.
Yeah, so he's 186 centimetres
Yep.
and 20 disposables, and also there's Dersma and Cooper.
I see you got Dyson Sharp. He's
Yeah.
a Central Districts boy. He played some SANFL this year and looked pretty good. I don't know what number he'll be in the draft, but I think he'll go pretty high.
What I'd like to actually bring up about too is a player like Tom Lewis, who's from Sturt, and he won the McGarry medal. Now he's exactly what actually Hawthorn would actually want.
Yeah,
he's in the centre. He's a mature player.
Yep.
He's only I think he's 25 or 26. He's 178 centimetres, left-footed, inside mid, known for his contested ball winning ability, tackling and leadership. So I just want to ask you, why don't some of the teams, like I know Lions did it with Darcy Fort, and he's been in 2 grand finals now as their
they played at Central Districts for a while.
Yeah, so why don't some of the,
I think he was originally at Geelong and did a stint at the Central District.
Yeah, that's right. So but why don't teams look for those mature players from South Australia or from WFL?
In the local competitions like SANFL, Waffle.
I don't understand that. Like this guy, he won the main medal for South Australia.
Yeah, the McGarry medal is a medal that you win for being the best and fairest player of the SANFL competition. It's a medal that's well renowned. My great grandpa did tire for it, and back in the 1930s they went back on countback and he didn't get the medal, but we'll look into that, see if we can get that looked into, but that's a story for another day. But that's the pinnacle of SANFL football, that you're the best player of the league. And so you feel, and I feel the same way. I think these guys that are in the leagues like that win a medal. I mean, I had a mate that played, Zane Kirkwood, won multiple McGarrys, SANFL captain, premiership player. I don't know how does not one a team that's just on the struggling, why don't they just pick a player up like that?
Yeah, that's right.
I just
instead of going through like Hawthorn, Sam did not actually play any of his young lads from last year's picks.
Yep.
So obviously they weren't strong enough, or obviously they weren't what he wanted. Why not have an older player and give him a go, like we did that with Jai?
Yep. I mean, you make a good point. Like I understand maybe young players that aren't developed enough to play AFL.
But you're not paying though. Like we're after Merritt.
Yeah.
Who we couldn't get. Where this guy, Tom Lewis.
Yeah.
He would imagine him. He'd just dream about playing for a team like Hawthorn.
And look at the NFL. I mean, look at they'll get whoever they can get in. I mean, whether they develop some younger players, but I feel like some competitions, it's like you've got to bring in players that have an instant impact. And this guy could have an instant impact, and you're 100% right. I feel like even my team should go for him. There's no reason why that guy shouldn't be playing AFL. I know he did an ACL in his draft season, but I don't think injuries should...
Didn't you think... You actually looked up about him, wasn't he, when it was draft season, he did actually have that injury, and that's why he was overlooked.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, yeah. So I sort of know how he feels with that one personally. With
I suppose the next targets for Hawthorn would be, I suppose, the following year is good old Zach Butters, your mate, and Sam.
That man right there. My man Butters.
I can see him in Hawthorn colours, but anyway.
Jesus, he's tough as nails, that bloke, isn't he?
Yeah, she's good.
He does play a bit of a Hawthorn type brand of football.
Yeah.
But please, if you hear me, Zach, we love you, mate.
So does Hawthorn.
We love you, mate. There's one reason why you're right there, mate.
And also there's Sam Walsh, who Hawthorn has already had a talk to, and he might be a bit of a target next year for us.
High draft pick at Carlton, and has had documented issues with his back and missed a fair bit of football through that, but I think his sort of contract stuff comes up at the end of next year, and whether you guys, but he's more of a running outside mid. I think he's a pretty tough player that can play still inside, but really good outside speed and can deliver the ball. So that it would be an addition to your side.
Yeah.
And so that sort of covers a bit with
And
just
just
who
the players
the players that you lost in your picks.
And also the players that got delisted.
Yep, so we'll bring that one up. So that you actually had 3 players delisted this season. I'll just get the names just to confirm it. So just here they are. So Sam Frost, Seamus Mitchell, and Jasper Scaife. So
yeah, like Sam Frost, I actually feel I'm one of those Hawthorn supporters that actually really like Sam. He was just a grunt player out there. He's like Hardwick, put his heart and soul in that team, and I just felt like I know they wanted a better go with Battle and Barras, but I've just felt really sorry for the guy. Like he did want to leave Hawthorn at the start of this year's season, and Hawthorn decided to keep him, and I think that I don't know. I just feel really sorry for him.
I did like when we went and seen Hawthorn train.
Yeah, he was one of the first guys and came round and photos with us and
shook everyone's hand. Really polite.
Yeah.
To be fair, if you didn't know who was in the team, he acted that professional. I thought he would have been your captain.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to him. I think.
Yeah, I feel sorry for him.
So do you think your club could have traded him last year?
Yeah, and he would have, then he'd be at a club still where he hasn't been picked up yet.
But not only that, you would have got something.
That's right.
So I mean, clubs like I think Collingwood were interested in.
Yeah, and I think Essendon were too. Were they? I'm not sure.
There's a few. Any club that was looking for a key defender probably would have been interested in, and they could have actually got something for him.
That's right.
So
where now he's just been delisted and we got nothing.
We'll just get a rookie listed player.
Yeah.
And Justice Scaife, he's from WA. He's a big guy, wasn't he? He's the big guy that he kicked a few goals in some games, but struggled due to the fact that you got a few good key forwards. Mitchell Lewis and
they brought Chol in.
Chol and Gunston.
Did Scaife get injured? Can't remember.
Well, there's a game that Scaife was going to play last year when he's had a game against West Coast, but for some reason he didn't.
Yeah, something happened. I think he might have got an injury. Yeah, I think he got an injury, and that was his actually.
Sure.
That's
they were going to give him a game.
Yeah, and that was his big turn, and unfortunately, it didn't happen.
So so he's probably I don't understand why he doesn't go back to WA and Fremantle or West Coast, particularly West Coast. I mean, you could easily use that guy on the forward line. There's no reason why. I think he was maybe a bit slower for that level because he's such a big bloke. But I don't like accepting to that theory that a guy can be too slow if you just kick it to him right and have him just use the ball right and kick right. There's no reason why a big guy can't clunk it, and this whole thing about speed and that, it's generally how you use the ball. But that's a story for another day with the ball use and that. But I think he should find a home. There's no reason why. He did kick a few goals. I think he kicked the bag of 6 goals in 1 or 2 games we watched in the VFL. And so Seamus Mitchell was sort of a half-back type player. You used to play him sort of there or on the wing. He played a few games for you in the end. I don't know how he played, but
I don't actually know he got delisted.
Yeah, he played a handful of games.
Yeah, okay.
Plays, obviously you've got D'Ambrosio, you've got Amon, former Port guy.
Amon's was a superstar, I think, this year.
Yeah.
But was Ambrosio as good as the year before? I'm not sure.
You met Amon through working through the.
Yeah, that's right. Amon and NPR.
Quite nice to you.
Lucky enough to massage.
Yeah, the good players. Former Port.
They wouldn't remember me though.
Former Port lads. I mean, I remember you saying how we'd seen Amon once, and you said he come up Saturday and was quite nice to you, respectful man. So.
That was actually
Was it Houston?
Oh no, and it was your captain.
So Amon said Pat Pepper was quite nice.
Yeah.
Our captain, Rosie.
Rosie was the one that came up to us.
Yeah.
So, remembered me in that. So, yeah. So I wouldn't mind mentioning a couple of my favourite players. I was going to list all of their names, but I won't worry about that. Oh, okay, so there's the Wiz, Guinea, Nash, McDonald, McGuinness, Morrison, Scrimshaw, MP, Ward, Deere, Lewis, Amon, Meek, Ambrosio, Dave, Gunny, Captain Sis, Battle, Barras, and Hardwick. There you go.
Tough nut, Hardwick. An old school footballer.
He is, isn't he?
I
through
remember,
finals.
I said to him actually when we met him.
Yeah.
Keep saying, sorry.
I was just saying through finals though, he was just so good.
Yeah.
Just down that back line, he just didn't stop.
The one-on-one battle with players. That's just our Bengal in the background. And you heard the Marema earlier. She just was the bar.
So I obviously my favourite player, or it's not obviously, but is Mr. September, is Jai Newcombe. So I wouldn't mind just listing some fun facts about him.
Yep.
So his first game was against Sydney at the SCG. He racked up 14 tackles, most player ever. On debut.
Yep.
This was in 2021, and he was a mid-season rookie draft, round 13, and then 9 days later they actually played him. So he straight away came in and played the game. He's had 102 games. His disposals 2,326. He's had 1,069 kicks, handballs 1,257, 399 marks, 472 tackles, 43 goals and 28 behinds. And I just want to have a nice, since Weddle's for me he's a bit of a game changer. Like when he's on there, he can play any position, even ruck. So
he's a tall, athletic player. He actually made his debut against my team. Yeah, I remember that quite well. And
oh really?
Yeah, debuted against Port Adelaide. Here in Adelaide, and I think we got off to like a 7 or 8 goal start. And this was the year before you guys played finals. But he looked good. He clunked a few marks and just developed his game. He's a reasonably tall player, not like a big clunking centre half forward or ruck, but he's like your second ruck. Centre half forward or centre half back or on the wing. He can run with the ball, carry. He's just electric runner. He's a quick runner, can good with his hands and feet.
And Essendon's already put in a little bid for him.
So they're apparently offered a mega deal next year.
So hopefully Hawthorn, starts a.
Well, I mean, if you have successful season, I mean.
Well, you don't know though. Does a player want, like Buddy did that to Hawthorn, didn't they? Like he had a couple of premierships and took the money and left.
But I mean, Sydney still are reasonably successful. Where Essendon at the moment are on the other end of the scale, rebuilding a bit like a few other clubs.
That's right.
Like a Melbourne, for example. But so personally, he's going to have to pick between good money or success.
Yeah. So I've just got some fun facts about him. So before focusing on footy, he was a multi-sport superstar as a junior, excelling in athletics, cross-country run, volleyball and basketball, making him a dynamic AFL player. He was drafted at pick 18 in 2022. In 2023, he played 17 games and Hawthorn awarded him most promising player. And that's Weddle, Josh Weddle.
Talented,
all rounder,
could excelled in a lot of the
I
could picture
you
him
can sort
a
of
bit of
picture
basketball,
him, and that's probably why he's a sprinter, he's a runner, he's everything.
The run and dash he has with the ball, he really is one of the most exciting players to watch when he has the ball in hand. For a big guy like Zach up there, he carries the ball and he's very electric, but he's not. He's more of a midfielder where Weddle's a lot bigger guy. So when he carries the ball and he's running with his mullet flowing, he looks $1 million. So shout out to Weddle. And what else?
Yeah, so I just want to ask you a few of the changes for next year.
Okay.
I'm not too cluey on all of this, so I wouldn't mind, and maybe with some of the other people out there who don't know too much about football.
What do you mean, the rule changes?
Yeah, rule changes. So, and also I suppose for Hawthorn, we've got Meek and Reeves who are battling up the same position here. And what do you think about the changes there?
So you're meaning the
with the change happening? Do you think?
So I'll just quickly explain the ruck rule change. You're not allowed to cross the line when the ball's bounced. So in the centre circle, which is right in the middle of the ground, when we have the ball up with the ruckman, you're not allowed to go like there's a line in the middle. You've got to sort of jump up and tap the ball down. You can't sort of just run in and push yourself straight over to their side of the circle. So you got to initiate the contact before you make that move across the circle, or at least be in the air. As for example, Meek is more of your body type sort of ruckman, big strong framed body. I think he was probably more of a wrestling type ruck where he'd sort of push his body and come over that line. So I think he's going to have to maybe readjust how he rucks a little bit. And for Reeves, he's probably more of your really tall ruck as well, but a bit more of a tap ruckman. So he probably, personally, probably use this rule to advantage and get up and tap, where Meek's more of you come in and he can still tap in that still. But
so what rule would suit which player the best?
Reeves will get advantage from the rule. It still doesn't mean that Meek can't use the rule to his advantage as well. But all the ruckmen are going to get used to that rule. But yeah, I think Reeves is a developing ruckman. He's a bit younger, so he's going to be another year bigger, stronger, pre-season in the weights.
And he'll want to prove himself. He'll want because that was his position.
So he could have got traded this year, but he elected to stay at your club.
I think Hawthorn didn't want to let him go either, did they?
Oh, I think it was a mutual thing. I think he was happy to stay here.
Okay, so the other, which concerns all teams, not just Hawthorn, is if a player is within 5 metres of mark or free kick, and if it's paid, they will be required to stand. Now, you know how when we watch this game that we love so much and we hear the umpires continuously say stand, does this mean throughout the whole game that's all we are going to hear?
So like all the players that are close to that person on the mark, generally not allowed to be 5 metres when the rule.
So what's
So it's like, I mean, he's instantly going to tell the guy to stand on the mark, which is already what they do, which I don't think they needed to change that rule to begin with. That could just said mark and called the mark, and instead of hearing stand every 2 minutes or whatever.
Is this mean is it going to? Because we have six umpires already. Yeah, like really, which is just too many already. Yeah, so does that mean like each time someone's going to mark, they're just going to continuously yell at stand? I don't know. That's just one thing that I just can't stand is this stand rule. I don't mind the stand rule. Well,
he's going to yell at the other players that are 5 metres around the players.
So that's what I'm saying.
Can't go anywhere near,
so he's going to be
which is already essentially the rule anyway. They're not allowed to be within 5 metres of. But it just gives the umpires the thing of saying it more. Yeah, it's just going to be another thing that there's already a rule that there should have. I will be getting into the rules a little bit after I finish the trade stuff. So I just want to represent all the clubs and finish the trade and we'll talk about that a bit more. But yeah, just on that.
And also, there was another thing of apparently which I don't mind, is the last touch. What's with that?
So the last touch is when someone's either handballed or kicked the ball out, and the ball goes out, not on the full, it bounces over the line, and the last team to touch it, the opposition will be rewarded a kick from the boundary, which has an instant impact on boundary throw-ins unless it's not being classed deliberate, which was the original rule, which everyone sort of, yes, it can be a bit controversial, but now we do have it here in the SNFL, and you hear people be positive about it, but I do think it lessens the ruckman's role and the ability to have a boundary throw-in, which is a traditional part of the game.
There's been a few close calls though, where I know there's been a Crows game and a Hawthorn game in the finals too, where there was a kick that should have that happened and it I think it was for Hawthorn, it came off Amon, and the umpires gave it a free to.
They interpreted it wrong.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, is this what changed? For
Well,
example, would that happen then? So that would actually Amon would have got without us even thinking about it.
Amon was the last one to touch it.
Yeah. But it was just whether it was he did it deliberately or not. You know.
Well, it wouldn't have changed the result.
Okay. All right.
So it's got to like be off hands or something and then bounce out, and then it's a boundary throw-in.
Okay, so
I just quickly clarify that I'm actually personally not the biggest fan of it because it gets rid of the boundary throw-ins. So you will see a bit of a change, and I get that it might stop that confusion.
I think I read that they're wanting more of a free flow. So
but how much do you free flow and it turns into a game you don't even recognise anymore, and it's just like.
Well, they want to get rid of the bounce too.
Well, that already
so they can't.
It takes 1 second to do a bounce.
You know.
And what you can't do a bounce in the middle of the oval. They're just throwing up like like we're playing basketball. And quite frankly, and I know the umpires have it hard enough because they're already interpreting these rules that change every week, and I think that it should be a role of you being an umpire to bounce the ball up in the air. It's no different to how a player has to bounce the ball as a footballer. They've got to bounce it. They should all be held into account because they're playing the game that we all love and we all cherish. So it should be respected a bit more. I don't like the bounce getting rid of because I did play ruck a fair bit and just was something that I like doing and I think that you need the time you jump right. Now it's just going to be a basic throw up and all this stuff about it's going to eliminate time in the game. It takes 1 second to to recall the ball back and how many times an umpire
and that's what it's called though in some of the shows called the bounce.
Yeah, well,
it's all about the
what
bounce,
are they going to call it now? To throw off. You know what I mean? I love that game. R.I.P. to Dani Frawley. I'm a Frawley, so shout out to Dani and his family. So we're in Halo, so shout out to you guys. So and that show was a great show and still is a great show.
Yes.
With Dunstall and the crew and
there's only one other thing that I want to talk about too with the change is shrugging tackles. So obviously everyone's on their back about one of my favourite players, the Wiz, and they say that he ducks. I don't think he does. I think he's just a small guy and people need to learn how to duck down lower.
Yeah, well, I'm
so like imagine Wiz coming up to you. You're 6'6".
Well,
so
6 foot.
6 foot
4, just under 5.
Oh,
Then almost 6'5", close enough. I'll take that. But
so so what's the new tackle rule with that? Apparently,
players to go in with their head.
It's everything. It says improv opportunity, just like a bend, duck, or attempt to evade a tackle or attempt to shrug a tackle will also be.
Well, players that drop their knees is what they're trying to eliminate.
Okay.
So they'll drop their knees into a tackle.
So that'll be
but also it's somewhat of a natural thing to drop your knees to try to initiate the.
To try to get out of.
But I mean, there's initiating contact with your head and then dropping your knees into the actual tackle. But you are somewhat right. So me as a taller guy, I had to really drop my knees going into a tackle before it. It is harder. You do sometimes probably give away a free kick or two because of that. So I sort of I get that they won't want those players doing that, and it may be harder for the umpires to interpret it. But if I was like you said, tackling.
I remember there was a team, I don't know, I can't remember whether it was Freo or Lions, but they did exactly what. There was a player and it was against Wick. He was tackling him and he did exactly what he should do.
Drop the knees more.
He was a taller player, came in lower and he tackled him right, and so there was no excuse, Wiz got tackled and he got it done. He couldn't. And I feel like, maybe sometimes it's on the player who's tackling them too. It's not all on, the ones who get tackled.
And I think it teaches technique. When you're going into a tackle, me being a bigger guy, for example, I'm going to have to go in lower for that simple fact that most players are either going to be shorter than me. If I'm tackling a big guy, it's a bit different, but Yeah, me. I personally would bend my knees a bit lower to the ground. I'd come in a bit lower, and then initiate the tackle as I've done and gone. Because otherwise I'm giving a free kick away, and players that are smaller like Wiz can have that sort of issue where that if you don't tackle him right, you're gonna get him higher. It's going to be interesting when you see him get tackled this year and players that haven't dropped their knees to go into that initial contact to tackle him. Are they going to still ping him? Because I still feel like it's high
with
either way.
with all these rules now, is it just like all the little guys who get tackled now? There's nothing going to happen. It'll be always their fault.
It's going to create more confusion.
Yeah.
More. The problem I have with it...
Because every team has a small forward.
Yeah,
every team has a little player.
You could be a little midfielder as well. You could not be the biggest midfielder and have the same issue.
So, and I know like Hawthorn's, some of those supporters out there have got a bad rap about Hawthorn doing that with Guinea and Wiz. But they are really small players, so...
Well, there's also the free kick, it's the original free kick that's been around for donkey years, been around for a long time. If you're ducking into it, if you have the ball and you're ducking your head into tackle, put your head as a battering ram, as example, the umpire won't give you a free kick because you put yourself into a dangerous position, which really does eliminate people putting their head where it shouldn't be. So they already have these set types of rules that they should already be interpreting. And the biggest problem I have, and I'll get into that with the rule changes, the umpires are already confused enough. They have the hardest job in football. They're probably, my great grandpa, after he retired in the SNFL, he ended up becoming an SNFL umpire, and he said it was a bit of a thing that he said, and he said to all his friends, he's a pretty well liked man. He said, as soon as I become an umpire, I lost all of my mates because they have the hardest decision and they have the hardest job to make these choices on the field, whether it's right or wrong, or they might not always get it right. And I don't like criticising the umpires. I do like them to be held accountable to a standard, just like the players are, because it's professionalism and that's what needs to happen. But also, I don't like the umpires being told from the higher ups who write and make these rule changes that they need to do all these rule changes that have been the last 15 years or so, or 10 years, and then they've got to interpret it. So they're the ones that have to interpret it, but then they cop the brunt of the stick when people get upset about it. So sometimes less change is better, and if you're going to change something, just change it back to how it was, or don't change it at all. Sometimes changing something for the sake of it, there's no reason to change the bounce just to speed it up. That's just the ruck nomination. They're finally getting rid of that, so that's the other thing with the rule change. The umpire used to sit there and go, are you rucking? Are you rucking? Okay, then throw it up. Okay, well, just throw the ball up. And what have they done? They're going back to it. So I get it. It's not frustrating, but it's finally good that they've gone back to original rule that they didn't need to change. Okay, I wanted to just make that very clear. Do not change a rule that does not need to be changed. It's the old saying, don't change what isn't broken. Sorry.
Oh no, that's right. I just want to add that.
I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, that I'm a happy supporter at Hawthorn, and I've been enjoying the journey that these young guys are going towards, and yeah.
The Hollywood Hawks.
The Hollywood Hawks. Go Hawthorn, 2026. So
you're pretty happy with chatting about that there. So you're pretty happy with your team, and they had a good year this year.
They had a good year. They've gone one step forward.
Yep.
Obviously we didn't get in the finals, but I don't think we were ready for. Yeah, well, grand final. But I was surprised we went as far as we did. Each year. I know we've had success, and I've gone through a lot of success with Hawthorn.
Yep.
But we've had. I still remember the year when it just turned downwards, and we played against your team, and I was at that game, and we didn't actually kick a goal at all in the first half. It wasn't until the halfway through the second half that we actually kicked anything. And so it's been, since then, it's been an awesome journey. We've got some awesome players, some young lads in there now that are just total superstars. That's from my heart because I'm such a proud Hawthorn supporter. So yeah, I really enjoy them and I love watching them play.
So do you expect a big year if you have?
I don't know. Like it all
fully
depends.
Fit Will Day?
Fully fit. Like Will Day needs to just have a full year. If he doesn't play a full year, and we don't get a good pick in the draft, any one of these young lads that can't come in, or we've got McGuinness. Hopefully he might. Or who was the other player? Mackenzie, was it that? Or,
Mackenzie didn't get traded at all, so there was no
Mitchell. Wanted to keep him. If we had one of these other younger players who Sam's kept, and they can maybe prove themselves, because we've lost Warple, and I know he sort of was a bit sidetracked this year, but we
Josh Ward sort of took his spot.
Yeah, he did. He actually did quite well too.
Yeah.
You know, Ward. Like we've got some good players there. We just need one of them to step up.
Ironically, I think Mackenzie's sort of similar player to Zach Merritt. If you just put on a little bit more size and muscle, I think you could probably.
Oh, is he? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he could play that sort of role.
You know, like I know I was all in for Merritt, but to be honest, I didn't know his name until this all came up. Like I just followed Hawthorn.
You would have seen it.
Like I watched other teams play.
Yeah.
But I'm not like you where you know nearly every single player. I know my team.
I've sort of
I don't
breathe footy.
Yeah, so like when Merritt came on board with all of this, well I'm like, oh yeah, well heck, we want Essendon's captain.
Well, yeah. If you didn't know, they've got that rivalry, so it's quite an interesting one. You don't really see much trades between the two clubs. It's probably almost
It'll
like
be
how
finished
we don't
completely
do any trades
now
with the Crows
because there's no way in heck. I think that's just even out the ballpark now.
Well, I mean, if they were to do a deal next year, I don't think they'll be offering as much, and maybe they've missed out on those draft picks. But also you get
hasn't Merritt got another year? He's still got 2 years, hasn't he?
2 years,
and they'll still want to keep him.
Yeah,
they've made it clear that they want to keep him.
I think they're going to keep him unless they need to get more draft picks in for the next few years after that.
But then they've got Tasmania to deal with.
But I mean, you're still going to get a first round pick either way, and the talent there. But now this season you get the keeper pick 10. Can you pick an inside mid that's ready to go? Can he have a long career and not maybe if you have an 18-year-old that comes in and he's ready to go and established.
Well, that's what we need,
and
then we don't need a Merritt or anyone like that.
Yeah, if you can get two guys like that, and then I think you need inside mid to just help them. I think you got enough class and outside run. You got the guys like Mackenzie and Ward. Ward's a little bit of an inside, but he can also use the ball.
Dylan Moore.
Ball, yeah. I mean, Dylan Moore's an inside mid, but a bit.
I don't know why they didn't actually try the Wiz more in there too. Like I know they did a few times Wiz, but maybe he should have a bit of more of a.
I think he needs protection though too.
He's just so little.
He's a little guy.
Yeah.
He's still a small and inside type player, but he's obviously not the battering ram that you need around him. And look at the clubs that picked up inside midfielders this year: Oliver and Petrarca and Warple. There really has been an inside midfield trade period, and I feel like if you can get that in the trade, it's draft. Sorry, if you can somehow snag a guy that's an inside midfielder to just protect, and help dry a bit and protect Will Day. And
he's one of those players that just goes so hard in it, doesn't he?
Yeah. He only knows one way.
Yeah.
And he has the potential.
And it's not even about that though. You can see him on the bench. He just
best
preps up the players
so
preps up the players.
Yeah.
He's a really important player.
Well loved there, and he did. The Crows did ask about him and whether he's available. They just Hawthorn said instant no. So just clarify that as well. That was also in the trade period. Yeah, obviously, yeah. Well, yeah. So I
don't want to talk about crows here in South Australia.
You can come to Port Adelaide, mate. Nah, well, we know that he's pretty settled there and he's well liked, and obviously you're a big fan, and the Hawthorn club is a big fan of him, and he's not going anywhere. So
yeah,
that was shut down instantly, as you'd expect with a star player. And yeah, is there anything that you'd like to add?
No, I think that's unless you, is there anything you like to add?
I covered it pretty good. I covered Hawthorn pretty well there. I've talked about the picks, the summary of the season. I think next year they'll do quite well. There's no reason why they'll finish higher. They'll still get a pretty hard draw, I guess, like they had this year. They had a pretty, they finished within the finals the year before. This year will be quite similar. I think they will have a harder draw.
Yeah. So some of the teams are just going to be just. I feel like even St Kilda, they'll be a great team next year.
Yeah, they're going to be able to gel together.
And they're one of those teams that Hawthorn seem to, even when St Kilda aren't up there, we seem to have a hard game against him. I feel like Brisbane's just got the full package.
Can Mitchell Lewis come in and have another pre-season, get a full year out of his body, and just take that forward?
I hope so. I hope so for him, because how old is he now?
He's getting closer to 30 now. He's not obviously that age, but
he's
between 20. I think he's 26. I'm saying he's on. He's on the aftermath. He's heading towards.
Yeah, it's like he's one of those players that's just had injury.
He's 26.
And Cashier Deer, hopefully
towards that age. Yeah.
Hopefully Cashier Deer has a.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he had stress fracture in his back.
Same sort of injury as Gunny.
He did look good in spots. Him coming into the side, if he puts on a bit of weight and gets even bigger, can he have what I describe as a Mitch Georgiadis type season, where it can be that third key tool? Where I know Georgiadis is becoming more of the key vocal part of the Port Adelaide forward line, but I'm just comparing him because he had a breakout year this year. He's a bit in that Aaron Cadman sort of role. Probably not as big and key forward structured, but a centre forward running athletic type. His dad was a legend of the club.
And there's can't forget Impey.
Yeah.
He's just such a great player. I really think he's a bit of a game changer too.
Yeah, running half back. He can play on the sort of solid players. He's
and Captain Sis, after his injury recovery, he became like how he.
Yeah, the injuries. He was carrying a sternum issue or something. I can't quite remember what it was, but he was. His form dipped and got towards the end of the year. Actually, gelled well. You had the best defense actually in the finals, or coming into the back end of the year, I thought.
He just played so good.
To your team's credit, the best structure is their defense.
But isn't that what you need on a team
absolutely.
though? You want the ball to go down and come straight back so they get another chance.
They're going to be hard to score against next year, so that's going to be one of your key points that I would really sort of say about your team. Now, if you can work on your midfield, get Will Day in, get a top 10 pick that could be a bit of an inside mid. Like I said, Mitchell Lewis. That's a bit of my review of your team. I think with those players in, there's no doubt that you got enough small forwards that come around your big guys that they're quite. Can your small forwards become elite small forwards? Can Dylan Moore maybe play a bit in the midfield and maybe could play that role full time instead of being a half forward?
And just want to shout out for Guinea too. He had a good year. He's one of those players that just goes round. All over the field. Because I know Jack Gunston used to play like that. Until he sort of got a bit older and
different type player. Though he's more of your running.
I know, but I remember Gunston used to go in the back and forward, forward. In the early days.
Ginnivan's work rate's
just doing that sort
hard.
of thing. Yeah.
And then I think you got a few hard working half forwards. As Connor McDonald does a lot of hard work coming.
Yeah, that's right.
His season was a bit in and out too. So if you can get, I feel like your list could really become a dominant list, and if you just have those things go right, like what I mentioned, there's no reason why your
Yeah.
team.
And like when there's like McGuinness who was Mr. Tagger
I tagged Zach Butters out, unfortunately.
and
heard
tagged
his
a Collingwood guy, can't remember his name.
Dacos
Oh,
and
yeah, sorry.
previous,
Only joking. Everyone knows Dacos.
That man up there, he is,
He's a
isn't it?
superstar. So, but he did tag him out.
Yeah.
It wasn't last year, but I mean this year. It was the year before.
Yeah, he ended up, before he hurt his kidney this year, he was doing a tagging role.
Yeah,
so
that's
it was
right.
so sad that he sort of. I think, yeah, there's no reason why you can't put him into the midfield.
That's
and
right.
have him
Like
as a
maybe
running
that's
player that
he's a bit of a bigger body, isn't
Yeah.
he? So giving him a chance there. Who knows?
Why not have him play that role? Maybe you can put him in there. So there you go, Hawthorn. There's a few tips from the fan herself, my girlfriend. And yeah, then you're pretty happy with that?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with my team and proud of them, and strong member, and going to try to go next year to a couple of the games in Melbourne we are, and hopefully get tickets this year or next year for the Adelaide games.
Gather around, yeah.
It's always a bit hard at Adelaide Oval because they're a noisy crowd, especially against the Crows. Port fans actually, I must admit, aren't as bad. Everyone actually thinks
You
differently, but
no, every fans
no, they
have,
are
every fans have their fans.
Yeah, I know.
Everyone's passionate.
I know. It's just it's a hard call, Adelaide Oval, because it's just a loud oval and it's so intense. So yeah.
South Australia represent. Nah, it's been a pleasure, Dani.
Thank you for having me on, Michael.
She's been real supportive of this podcast and me being up here after a busy day at work. So yeah, and the Maruma downstairs.
She's bored.
Yep. So we're gonna have to go down and see how she's going. We're both up here. So so she puts up with me doing this, and I really appreciate everything that she's done.
That's right. I'm sure we'll have another chat during season time when
she's helped me set this up. So really appreciate everything she does.
That's right.
I love her, and I really do appreciate everything you've done for me, and I hope you enjoyed this podcast.
Yeah, thanks.
And
go Hawks!
She's been a passionate Hawks supporter, and really appreciate it. And so thank you, everyone, and
thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you very much, and so I'll be doing Melbourne as my next podcast. So like and subscribe, and I hope everyone's enjoyed it. My first guest. We will get more guests on in the upcoming weeks.
More important than me.
Well,
we watch maybe some footy players instead of just me.
Yeah, we watch a lot of football together, and it's been a
every
pleasure
weekend
to
we
do
do.
this.
It's kind of quiet over the weekends. We don't know what to do.
I know.
He's getting sick of the movies.
We got the cricket, and we got a bit of the basketball, the 36ers. So please go to the 36ers. So, football is the bread and butter, and we miss football. And so I'll be covering Melbourne next, and I hope everyone has a great night. And thank you, Dani.
That's right.
And thank you, everyone.
Cheers.
See you. Thank you.